Something strange and extremely large is hidden at the edge of our universe and is puzzling astronomers. When we contemplate the cosmos, we cannot get the idea that something amazing is hidden beyond our sight. As the power of our telescopes increases, we discover an unknown universe. We are seeing gigantic structures and strange behaviors of expanding matter, which call into question our cosmological principle and our fundamental laws. Alexia Lopez from the Central University of Lancashire in the United Kingdom is clear. This is impossible, it should not exist. Sabir Sarkar, professor of theoretical physics at the University of Oxford. The universe cannot behave like this. This structure did not have time to form. What is there beyond that we do not know? Today you are going to discover a new vision of the cosmos that you have not seen before. Circumference light. We have always been based on a homogeneous isotropic universe, which on galactic scales must be the same everywhere, and some of you will tell me, and why is that? Well, because the cosmic microwave background, which is the residual radiation from the Big Bang, has an almost uniform temperature in all directions. Furthermore, until recently we had seen very similar galaxies and galaxy clusters everywhere. When we look at the solar system, our galaxy and our local group, the matter appears irregularly distributed, but on a larger scale it is very similar with a repetition of large-scale patterns. The universe must be something like this with a large filamentary network that some describe as like a lumpy foam, and this assumption is what our standard cosmological model that describes an observable universe as dark matter and dark energy is based on. Here I present to you a gigantic ring of galaxies 1,300 million light-years in diameter and 4,000 million light-years in circumference. This gigantic galactic structure defies our cosmological laws. It is too big and inconceivable for us. If we could see it from Earth, it would be equivalent to 15 times the size of the full moon. Due to the great distance, the light that reaches us is very dim, and we cannot see it. It is only visible with the most powerful telescopes, long years of study and powerful computer tools. Thanks to quasars caused by active black holes in galaxies, they produce a lighthouse effect so that we can see that ring of distant galaxies. Huge walls at the edge of the universe. Ring of distant galaxies. In 2021, astronomers have already detected another enormous pattern of galaxies, forming a giant arc 3.3 billion light-years in diameter. And now another one emerges in the shape of a circle. Together, the Great Ring and the Giant Arch challenge the standard model. Being in the same region of the sky, near the constellation of the Cowherd, the Shepherd, with only 12 degrees of difference, they are at the same distance, about 9,200 million light-years. And we ask ourselves again, what is the universe really like? Alexia Lopez and her work team cannot believe what they are seeing. These structures should not be possible, and even more so if we calculate the distance at which they are found. They appeared when the universe was only 4.6 billion years old. This finding was announced at the meeting of the American Astronomical Society in New Orleans. Neither of these two gigantic structures can be explained by our standard model. According to astronomers, these cosmological structures so close to each other are not a coincidence, and they are telling us that there is something big that is hidden beyond the observable universe. We are supposed to expect to see very primitive and dispersed galaxies in an increasingly ancient universe, but what we find are gigantic galactic clusters on immense scales, at distances equal to or greater than 10 billion light-years. The matter should be distributed uniformly and smoothly so that the universe looks the same everywhere. The reactions of the researchers have not been long in coming. The possibility that such large structures exist, and also so close, means that they form an even larger cosmological system. It is as if we were immersed in another great superstructure that spans more galaxies than we had imagined. Today, science cannot explain from our understanding a mechanism that forms such structures in a homogeneous universe. But that is not all. There are more superstructures. The 6 largest superstructures. At the moment the largest is the Great Wall of Hercules Crown Borealis. A true monster, it measures more than 10 billion light-years. 2 billion light-years wide and about 700 million light-years thick. It represents 11% of the observable universe. There is no explanation as to how it could form 3.8 billion years after the Big Bang. This superstructure is half the size of the previous one and is the second largest. A giant of 5.6 billion light-years. Another gigantic structure 4,000 million light-years long, with a total of 74 quasars. The giant arch is crowned the fourth. A formation composed of galaxies, dust and gas spanning 3,300 million light-years. It has a size of 5 billion light-years and includes about 38 quasars, groups of large supermassive black holes. Sloan's Great Wall is about 1.37 billion light-years long. We are discovering superstructures everywhere. What does this mean? That the universe on its largest scale is wrong? That nothing is as we imagine and the universe is not so uniform? There should be no noticeable irregularities from a certain distance. What is surprising about the great superstructure of the Great Ring is that it is a supercluster of galaxies with a spiral shape, like a corkscrew and aligned with the Earth. The giant arc, for its part, is 1/15 of the observable universe, something that should not be possible. In the early moments of the universe, it is possible that waves and pressure due to gravitational interactions formed large-scale bubbles of matter. However, this explanation only forms spherical structures, and how curious, the large ring is two-dimensional. The conclusions presented at the New Orleans conference have surprised us, since it is proposed that we are facing evidence of cosmic strings. Cosmic strings. One-dimensional topological effects proposed as part of string theory, as if the universe were a sheet that drags from its beginning acoustic baryon oscillations, which are fluctuations in the baryon matter by primordial plasma waves. We would be in a great cosmic ocean, where everything fluctuates and evolves at different rates. Cosmic strings could have been created at the beginning of the universe and the breaking of symmetry, due to a phase transition, leaving their mark on the structure of matter. The most surprising thing is that they have considered the model of conformal cyclic cosmology proposed by the physicist Roger Penrose, which they have often criticized. Now they rescue that model to explain the cosmos. I will explain to you in a simple way what this model consists of. The idea is proposed that our universe experiences successive cycles of expansion and contraction throughout eternal time. It means that the universe always exists and information prevails. In the context of successive cycles, each cycle could influence the formation and evolution of cosmic structures. The cycles could affect the distribution of matter and energy, and information about structures from the previous cycle could be preserved and affect the next cycle. This would explain the large structures we see on immense scales. The universe would continually reset, and there would be evidence of the previous cycle, what Penrose called a neon in the new eon. When the universe expands, the scale is irrelevant and matter as we know it will not exist, only dispersed molecules. In an expanded empty universe, it can become another singularity, restarting a new cycle, but the best is saved for last. The universe expands at different scales. Against all odds, the universe could expand at different speeds. A recent discovery suggests that mysterious dark energy, thought to be constant over time, could vary in density and raises the possibility that the rate of expansion could change in the future. Until now, it was thought that the dark energy responsible for the accelerated expansion of the universe remained constant in its effect. However, the study carried out by more than 400 scientists from the Dark Energy Survey reveals that there are indications that dark energy may not behave uniformly over time. This study was based on an impressive sample of more than 1,500 supernovae, using advanced technology such as the dark energy camera. What does this mean? That if the density of dark energy varies with time, it should affect the way this superstructure formed during the early stages of the universe. Some areas of the universe would evolve differently in the past. If the density of dark energy changes, this could influence large-scale homogeneity, and there would be irregularities in the way matter is distributed. Simply put, we have no idea what the universe is like exactly now or in the past. You need constant patterns to understand it. But if dark energy fluctuates, if time changes, if we see everything in the distant past at different times, and if we only see less than 5% of the cosmos, it is incredible that we can explain anything. The general view of the cosmos would be very strange. If we could see it in its entirety, It is something truly psychedelic. Considering that we were privileged observers in a higher dimension, imagine an amorphous mass without a certain shape, since time is relative and there are fluctuations in dark matter, which means that it changes cycle after cycle depending on who observes it. I can't think of a better analogy to explain it. Personal conclusion. We are facing a paradigm shift. From a static universe to a dynamic one. From one homogeneous to another irregular. Information from the cosmos cannot arise from nothing. It comes from the void itself and cannot be destroyed or created, only transformed. The universe has always existed but in other forms. From a scientific point of view, I believe that conformal cyclic cosmology can be coupled to the standard model, by knowing the initial singularity that allows for smooth transitions between cycles. The universe may have experienced phase transitions that have not followed a uniform line, but it would have continuous cycles with the above information. Information that has always existed and that represents the code of everything that can be created. The planets, us, and maybe something we didn't even imagine. As human beings with limited lives, we consider that everything that exists has a beginning and an end. But we are wrong. They are only transformations, and we see everything from our point of view as human beings in a forgotten corner of the universe. From our limited knowledge, we see the cosmos with amazement and try to understand it, but it is more extraordinary and complex than we could ever imagine.
Hush.